Racing to the 2020 Breeders' Cup, and now that all the prep races have been run, let's start taking a look at the deep dive. This will be a first part of a series. We'll go through all of the races, take a look at some of the top contenders over the next couple of weeks, because a lot of times as you get closer to race day, these fields start to firm up, and you don't have time to handicap 14 races in 2 days or 3 days, and I really like to take advantage of this extra time, watch the replays, kind of get all of your notes, and really have some of your background information on what these horses have actually done and accomplished, and kind of sometimes you forget about races early on in the campaign, maybe either the track surface or how the race played out, some of the different race flows. So I want to take a look at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile today. And I think the key factor in this race is you've got the two big winners. I think there's going to be two horses bet definitely more than everybody else. Starting off with Jackie's Warrior, the winner of the Champagne Stakes. Now 4 for 4 after that victory, including a couple of Grade 1 victories, and he is going to be the favorite, the anti-post favorite for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. A 100 Beyer speed figure after the victory in the 1 mile, 1 turn Belmont Stakes race, the Champagne. Meanwhile, he kind of blew away the field in the Hopeful Stakes. And on speed figure wise, it looks like Jackie's Warrior is going to loom a pretty big favorite here. He's got those mid-90s. He's got the 100 Beyer speed figure now. He did kind of just kick clear at the end in the 1-turn Champagne. Now he kind of has a pace advantage in some of these horses because his raw natural speed allows him to get into kind of a rhythm, and it's going to be hard for him to get a bad trip on that front end, and I think he kind of is the speed of the speed. So Jackie's Warrior, the only question is the 2 turns, and long term I definitely have questions about that pedigree, but that's really more for him as a 3-year-old. I remember a horse like Shanghai Bobby. I didn't think he'd be a good 3-year-old either, but going into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, I thought he would be pretty much kind of a standout in that race. So Jackie's Warrior has current form. Also the quick turnaround without Lasix. Again, remember in these big races, 2-year-old races this year, they're not going to get Lasix, so he's coming back on 3 weeks. You pick up a 100 Beyer speed figure in your 4th lifetime start, that's a lot of energy you're expending, and I think Reinvestment Risk is actually a pretty nice horse, so beating that horse twice is pretty good. Essential Quality, the winner of the Keeneland Breeders' Futurity, he's probably going to be the 2nd favorite. A nice win. It looks like he can come a little bit off the pace. I like his kind of just natural speed. Again, he's got tactical speed. I think he can sit 2nd and 3rd. He's another one who galloped out strongly, finished strongly in that Breeders' Futurity race. So I think he's definitely going to get the mile and a 16th. I think he's been primed to run a good race here, and he gets a couple of extra weeks of rest that a horse like Jackie's Warrior won't get. So Essential Quality, again, probably 2nd on speed figures, has a good pedigree, has a good workout pattern coming into this race. Getter Number, that is a horse that won out west in the Santa Anita race, and he has worked since that race, worked out on 10-10, so that's a key factor. A lot of times you got to see how these horses work out of those races. Now that was a little bit slower run race on a little bit slower surface, and he was going turf to dirt in that race, so he has kind of already got the advantage of that. Now he's going to have to put together back-to-back races on the dirt and face other speed. Now the horse that I like actually coming out of that race was Rombauer. He again had made the turf to dirt switch, and I thought he was making a menacing move going into the turn and then kind of just flattened out late. I think with more speed and a bigger field, I think Rombauer is probably the one I want coming out of that Santa Anita race and moving forward into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He has worked out of that race, and now, again, another positive sign for Rombauer. Reinvestment Risk, both his efforts against Jackie's Warrior have been strong. I still feel his maiden breaker at Saratoga was one of the top 3 maiden wins of the year, and I think he is going to be a better route horse than a sprinter, and he's had to do some of the dirty work kind of chasing Jackie's Warrior in those last 2 races in those small fields. I think a bigger field and maybe a little bit he can lay more comfortably back in 4th or 5th place. So still a chance for Reinvestment Risk to possibly turn the tables for the son of Upstart and trained by Chad Brown going into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Sittin on a Go has been off the long layoff since winning the prep race on the Derby weekend. Dale Roman's trained, the son of Brody's Cause, seems to have the pedigree, and Sittin on Go has had a steady workout pattern, so I think he's going to take a lot of play in this type of race. He definitely gets more of an edge, has time to consolidate those first 2 career races and kind of really move forward. I think he's the type of horse that you can project moving forward off that number in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Likeable is a horse who I think may enter the race. He won a maiden special weight race. I think Todd Pletcher trains. I think he would get allowed into the race if the field oversubscribes. So I definitely want to talk about Likeable. His speed figure came back strong after that maiden win, and I like the fact that he really improved in that second lifetime effort. A lot of times a trainer will give that first horse kind of a run through in that first race and then really tighten the screws in the second race, and just that natural improvement going into his third lifetime start could make Likeable a strong horse contender in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And then rounding out one of my top 8 contenders is Superstock. I like the way he finished against Essential Quality in that Breeders' race, Futurity race at Keeneland. I think he's another one who's on the upswing and could be hitting a new top in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So those are some of the thoughts and factors that I'm thinking about. Again, pedigree-wise, Jackie's Warrior, I don't know about that as a 3-year-old, but going into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he's still got to solve the 2-turn test. He will face other speed and a little bit larger field, so he won't kind of be the alpha dog in that race. I do like a horse like Reinvestment Risk, I think, but the question mark on both those horses, they get less time between races to move forward without the Lasix. So with that extra pressure, who knows? Maybe they bleed a little bit, maybe not. We'll see. You got to remember, with this, without Lasix, you got to go back to handicapping, where horses are going to have a little bit of form reversals. They're not always just going to win, and keep on improving. They're going to need more time between races, and they're going to have to pair up some of those efforts before they can move forward. So that's why I like a horse like, I think you saw that with Get Her Number in that last race, and even a horse like Rombauer could possibly improve second time dirt off that turf, because on turf races you don't expend quite as much energy. Who do you like early on in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile? Leave a comment below, hit subscribe, and share this video with all your horse racing friends. We're going to lead you up with these longer previews, kind of deeper dive into the Breeders' Cup 2020. We're also going to have a look at some speed figure analysis and pace analysis coming up. So ring that bell for notifications as we lead you up to the 2020 Breeders' Cup.